In a bold and shocking move that has shocked the entire globe, Niger's military leader, General Abdourahmane Chiani, has ignited a firestorm of economic emancipation that has left France's nuclear giant Orano teetering on the edge of collapse. Since the July 2023 coup that ousted the Western-backed President Mohamed Bazoum, Niger's military leadership has moved decisively to reclaim the nation's uranium, the lifeblood of France's nuclear energy sector. Orano's subsidiary, SEIZES, which once supplied 15% of Orano's uranium and fueled a quarter of Western Europe's nuclear reactors, is now on the verge of bankruptcy. Why? Because Niger has slammed shut the export routes, blocked essential equipment at the border, and seized control of SEIZES' operations, with plans to fully nationalize it by July 2025. This is no small feat. For decades, France has pillaged Niger's uranium at prices that mock the dignity of its people. Documents reveal the shameful truth. Under the previous regime, Niger received a paltry 5% royalty on uranium sales, with prices as low as 0.8 euros per kilogram. Meanwhile, France resold this same uranium on global markets for 200 euros per kilogram, reaping billions while Nigerians languished in darkness, with 7% of the population without electricity. The late Yevgeny Prigozhin, head of Wagner PMC, exposed this scandal, and General Chiani has acted on it with ruthless precision. Niger now demands 200 euros per kilogram for its uranium, a move that has catapulted the nation to the fourth fastest growing economy in the world in 2024, according to economic projections. The impact is staggering. France, which relied on Niger for 15% of its uranium imports in 2022, is scrambling to secure alternative supplies from Uzbekistan, Australia and Namibia. But the loss of Niger's uranium is a body blow to French energy security and a humiliating rebuke to its colonial legacy. Orano's pleas for dialogue ring hollow, as they warn of structural dysfunctions and environmental risks. But let us be clear. These are the crocodile tears of a plunderer caught in the act. Niger's junta has not only expelled French troops, but also forged new partnerships with Russia and China, signaling a bold pivot away from Western dominance. The message is unmistakable. Niger's resources belong to Nigerians, and they will no longer be exploited to light up Paris while Niamey remains in the dark. Across the border in Burkina Faso, Captain Ibrahim Traoré is leading a revolution that is nothing short of historic. Since seizing power in 2022, Traoré has made it his mission to wrest control of Burkina Faso's gold mines from foreign hands, particularly those of British and Canadian companies like Endeavour Mining and IAMGold. In a landmark move, Burkina Faso has nationalised 5 gold mining assets, including the Bangu and Wahnion mines, transferring them to the state-owned Société de Participation Minière du Burkina, SOPMAB. This follows a $80 million deal that saw Endeavour Mining's assets, initially valued at $300 million, handed over to the state, a clear signal that Burkina Faso will no longer tolerate the looting of its wealth. Burkina Faso, Africa's 4th largest gold producer, churned out 57 tons of gold in 2023, contributing over 70% of the nation's export revenue. Yet, under foreign control, the Burkinabe people saw little of this wealth. Traoré has changed that. By revising the mining code in 2023, Burkina Faso increased its free carried equity stake in gold projects from 10% to 15%, ensuring a greater share of profits stays in the country. The results are transformative. The National Precious Substances Company collected over 8 tons of gold in 2024 and 11 tons in the first quarter of 2025 alone, primarily from artisanal sources. For the first time in its history, Burkina Faso is establishing a national gold reserve, a testament to Traoré's vision of economic sovereignty. Meet Souleymane Wedra Ogo, a 42-year-old entrepreneur from Ouagadougou who runs a transport and logistics company. For years, Souleymane struggled to expand his business due to Burkina Faso's dilapidated road network, a legacy of neglect under foreign-dominated mining regimes. Before Captain Traoré, moving goods across the country was a nightmare, he says. The roads were so bad that my trucks would break down, and deliveries were delayed for days. I lost clients and money. But since Traoré's government began investing mining revenues into infrastructure, Suleiman's fortunes have changed. The government has purchased road construction equipment and is building 3,000 to 5,000 kilometers of roads annually, connecting rural areas to urban markets. Now, I can deliver goods from Ouagadougou to Bobo Dioulasso in half the time, Suleiman beams. My business has doubled and I've hired 6 new drivers. This is what it means to control our wealth. The new roads have not only boosted Suleiman's profits, but also opened up opportunities for farmers and small traders, creating a ripple effect across the economy. In the health sector, Traoré's reforms are saving lives and restoring hope. Consider Aissata Diallo, a 28-year-old mother of 2 from Koudougou. Last year, Aissata faced a medical emergency when her youngest child fell ill with malaria. The nearest hospital was 50 kilometers away, and the roads were terrible, she recalls. By the time we got there, the fees were so high, I had to borrow money from my neighbors. But under Traoré's leadership, Burkina Faso is revolutionizing healthcare. The government has built new hospitals, introduced mobile clinics to reach remote areas, and slashed medical bills by up to 50% in some regions. When Aissata's son fell ill again this year, a mobile clinic visited her village, providing free treatment. I couldn't believe it, she says, tears in her eyes. The doctor treated my son, and I paid nothing. Captain Traoré is a blessing to us. By channeling gold revenues into healthcare, Traoré is ensuring that every Burkinabe has access to quality medical care, a stark contrast to the days when foreign miners reaped billions while hospitals crumbled. Traoré's vision extends beyond mining and infrastructure to agriculture, the backbone of Burkina Faso's economy. Recognizing that years of insecurity and neglect had decimated agricultural production, Traoré has launched ambitious programs to revive the sector. The government is distributing modern farming equipment, providing subsidized fertilizers, and building irrigation systems to boost crop yields. In 2024, Burkina Faso launched a national program to cultivate 500,000 hectares of new farmland, focusing on staple crops like millet, sorghum, and maize. Traoré has also introduced cooperative farming models, empowering smallholder farmers to pool resources and access markets directly. We are not just growing food, we are growing our independence, Traoré declared at a recent agricultural summit. Plans are underway to establish agro-processing plants, turning raw crops into value-added products like flour and cooking oil, further boosting export revenues. These initiatives are already bearing fruit. In 2025, Burkina Faso's agricultural output is projected to grow by 15%, reducing reliance on food imports and creating jobs for thousands of young people. In Mali, Colonel Assimi Goïta is leading a parallel revolution, shaking the foundations of foreign dominance in the mining sector. The 2023 Mining Code is a game-changer, mandating that the state own up to 30% of new mining projects and prioritizing national expertise and local suppliers. This has put Mali on a collision course with Western giants like Canada's Barrick Gold and Australia's Resolute Mining, who face disputes over unpaid revenues. Mali's message is clear. If you cannot pay your fair share, you have no place here. The days of foreign miners declaring whatever profits they pleased are over. Mali now demands transparency, participation, and equitable earnings, ensuring that the nation's gold and lithium wealth benefits its people. In a bold move, Mali nationalized the Yatala gold mine in October 2024, following a retrocession agreement with AngloGold Ashanti and IAMGold. The mine is now under the control of the state-owned Mali Mineral Resources Research and Development Corporation, a symbol of Mali's commitment to sovereignty. But the revolution doesn't stop there. Mali is building its first gold refinery, a project that will allow the country to process its own gold and capture greater value from its exports. This refinery, set to be operational by 2026, is sending shockwaves through the global mining industry as it signals Mali's intent to move beyond raw material exports to value-added production. Additionally, Mali has opened 2 lithium mines, with China's Ganfeng Lithium securing a 65% stake in the Goulamina mine, while granting Mali 30% ownership and 5% to local investors. This partnership reflects Mali's pragmatic approach, welcoming foreign investment but on its own terms. Like Burkina Faso, Mali is leveraging its mineral wealth to transform agriculture. Under Goita's leadership, the government has launched the Mali Green Initiative, a program to modernize farming and achieve food security. In 2024, Mali distributed 10,000 tons of subsidized fertilizers and introduced solar-powered irrigation systems to combat drought. The results are astounding. Rice production increased by 20% in 2024, and Mali is on track to become a net exporter of rice by 2027. Take the story of Fatoumata Coulibaly, a 35-year-old farmer from Sikasso. "Before, I could barely grow enough to feed my family," she says. "Now, with the new irrigation systems and seeds from the government, I'm selling surplus rice at the market and saving for my children's education." Goita's vision is clear. Mali's mineral wealth will fuel its agricultural revolution, ensuring that every citizen benefits from the nation's resources. The formation of the Alliance of Sahel States, AES, in July 2024, comprising Niger, Burkina Faso and Mali, is a masterstroke in regional solidarity. At the AES summit in Niamey, Captain Traoré delivered a blistering critique of Western hypocrisy, noting that these nations are labelled the poorest, yet foreign powers refuse to leave when told. They mine our gold, our uranium, our lithium, taking billions in profits, but they couldn't even build a road to their mines, Traoré thundered. France and its allies light up their cities, but our people live in darkness, no more. The AES is not just a political alliance, it is an economic fortress designed to protect the Sahel's resources and negotiate as a united front on the global stage. The AES's collective bargaining power is already reshaping global markets. Niger's uranium price hike, Burkina Faso's gold nationalizations, and Mali's mining reforms are forcing Western companies to rethink their strategies. Russian and Chinese firms like Nordgold and Ganfeng Lithium are stepping in, offering partnerships that respect national sovereignty. Russia's Nordgold, for instance, produces 50% of Burkina Faso's gold exports and has secured new licenses under the revised mining code. These partnerships are not perfect, but they mark a shift away from the exploitative models of the West. The AES is also exploring a monetary union to abandon the CFA franc, a colonial relic that ties their economies to France. As General Chiani declared, abandoning the CFA franc is a step toward true sovereignty. Let us be unequivocal, the West's prosperity is built on Africa's back. From uranium for nuclear reactors to gold for financial reserves, lithium for batteries, and rare earths for renewable energy, Africa is the backbone of the global economy. Niger supplies 26% of the EU's uranium, while Burkina Faso and Mali produce a quarter of Africa's gold. The Democratic Republic of Congo holds 60% of the world's cobalt, and Zimbabwe and South Africa are key players in lithium and platinum. Yet, for centuries, Africa has been robbed blind, with corrupt leaders signing away resources for pennies, while Western capitals amass wealth. The West's desperation is palpable. France's energy security is crumbling without Niger's uranium. Orano's looming bankruptcy is just the tip of the iceberg. Other Western firms like Endeavour Mining and Barrick Gold are facing arbitration and nationalization threats across the Sahel. The EU's scramble for alternative uranium sources has led to an uncomfortable reliance on Russia, undermining sanctions against Moscow. This is the West's nightmare, an Africa that controls its resources and demands fair value. If the AES's model spreads, the West will come begging, as Africa holds the keys to the minerals that power their economies. Niger, Burkina Faso and Mali are walking the path blazed by Muammar Gaddafi, whose 1969 revolution transformed Libya from a colonial puppet to an economic powerhouse. Under the Senussi monarchy, Libya was a beggar nation, with a literacy rate of 6% and a life expectancy of just 40 years. Gaddafi's nationalization of oil wealth turned the tide, raising literacy to 88.4% and life expectancy to 74.5%, by 2010. Libya became a high development country with free education, healthcare and housing for its people. But Gaddafi's defiance came at a cost. The West orchestrated his downfall in 2011, plunging Libya back into chaos. The lesson is clear. Africa's enemies will stop at nothing to maintain control. Yet, the Sahel's leaders are undeterred, proving that Gaddafi's vision of resource sovereignty can succeed. Captain Traoré has hinted at a profound truth. Africa's wealth is not just what we see, but what lies hidden. There is so much underground that many people have not seen yet, he said. Across the Sahel, untapped deposits of gold, uranium, lithium, copper, zinc and manganese await exploration. Burkina Faso alone has vast reserves of diamonds, limestone and phosphates, while Mali's lithium deposits are among the largest in Africa. These resources, long concealed or controlled by foreign interests, could transform the continent if harnessed for the people. But the greatest obstacle is not the lack of wealth. It is the corruption of African leaders who collude with the West for personal gain. African leaders must wake up to the bigger picture. The Sahel's revolution shows what is possible when courage meets vision. Niger, Burkina Faso and Mali are proving that Africa has everything the world needs: minerals, talent and resilience. But disunity and corruption have kept the continent on its knees. Leaders must reject the bribes and threats of Western powers and follow the AES's example. Imagine an Africa where every nation demands fair value for its resources, invests in its people, and negotiates as a united bloc. The West would have no choice but to bow. The time for half measures is over. Africa must rise as one, or it will continue to be carved up by those who see it as nothing more than a resource colony. The revolutions in Niger, Burkina Faso and Mali are not just local victories. They are a beacon for the entire continent. General Chiani, Captain Traoré and Colonel Goita have shown that Africa can reclaim its destiny. From uranium price hikes to gold mine nationalizations, from new roads to mobile clinics, these nations are building a future where their people come first. The West's panic, Orano's bankruptcy, France's energy woes, and the scramble for new suppliers is proof of Africa's power. If Africa unites, as the AES has begun to do, the world will tremble. Let every African leader take heed. The Sahel is showing the way. It is time to demand what is ours, to build our roads, our hospitals, our refineries, and our future. Africa has nothing to lose and everything to gain. The revolution is here, and it will not be stopped. The seismic transformations unfolding in Niger, Burkina Faso and Mali under the Alliance of Sahel States, AES, are not merely regional victories. They are a resounding wake-up call for every African leader. The bold actions of General Abdourahmane Chiani, Captain Ibrahim Traoré and Colonel Assimi Goïta offer a blueprint for dismantling the colonial chains that have shackled Africa's wealth and kept its people in poverty. From Niger's audacious uranium price hike to Burkina Faso's gold mine nationalizations and Mali's revolutionary mining code, these nations are proving that Africa's resources can and must serve Africans first. The lessons are clear, urgent, and non-negotiable. African leaders must open their eyes, shed their complicity, and embrace the Sahel's model of sovereignty, unity, and courage to transform the continent into the global powerhouse it is destined to be. The Sahel's leaders have shown that sovereignty over natural resources is the cornerstone of economic liberation. Niger's decision to raise uranium prices from €0.8 to €200 per kilogram exposed the grotesque exploitation by France, which reaped billions while Nigerians lived in darkness. Similarly, Burkina Faso's nationalization of 5 gold mines and Mali's 30% state ownership in new mining projects have ensured that wealth stays in the country. African leaders must follow suit, renegotiating lopsided contracts that favor foreign corporations. The era of accepting 5% royalties or less while Western capitals amass fortunes must end. Leaders should audit existing mining agreements, as Mali did with Barrick Gold and Resolute Mining, and demand transparency in pricing and profits. Nationalization, when done strategically, as in the case of Burkina Faso's Sopami B or Mali's Yatala mine, empowers states to control operations and reinvest revenues into development. This boldness requires leaders to reject the fear of Western retaliation, as the AES has done by expelling French forces and forging ties with Russia and China. Africa's minerals, uranium, gold, cobalt, lithium, are the lifeblood of global industries, and leaders must wield this leverage to demand fair value. The Sahel's transformation is a testament to what happens when resource wealth is redirected to the people. African leaders must prioritize domestic investment over foreign appeasement. Revenues from minerals should fund roads, hospitals, schools and agricultural programs, as seen in Burkina Faso's Burkina Green Revolution and Mali's Mali Green Initiative. Leaders should establish sovereign wealth funds like Burkina Faso's National Gold Reserve to ensure long-term economic stability. The Sahel proves that when resources serve the people, poverty indices plummet, literacy soars, and life expectancy rises, as Libya experienced under Gaddafi's nationalization of oil. The formation of the AES is a masterclass in regional solidarity. By uniting, Niger, Burkina Faso and Mali have amplified their bargaining power, forcing the West to confront a collective front. Captain Traoré's fiery speech at the Niamey summit exposed the hypocrisy of labeling these nations the poorest while refusing to relinquish their resources. The AES's plans for a common currency to replace the CFA franc, a colonial relic, underscore the power of unity. African leaders must emulate this model, forming regional blocs to negotiate with foreign powers as equals. The African Union, AU, and regional bodies like ECOWAS must prioritize economic sovereignty over Western-aligned agendas. A united Africa could dictate terms for its cobalt, lithium and rare earths, which power global technologies. The West's panic, Orano's bankruptcy, France's energy crisis, and the scramble for alternatives proves Africa's power. You hold the minerals that fuel their industries, the gold that backs their banks, and the lithium that powers their future. Unite, demand what is yours, and build an Africa that stands tall. The Sahel has lit the flame. It is time for the continent to carry the torch. Let corruption perish, let sovereignty reign, and let Africa rise as one. In a bold and shocking move that has shocked the entire globe, Niger's military leader General Abdourahmane Chiani has ignited a firestorm of economic emancipation that has left France's nuclear giant Orano teetering on the edge of collapse. Since the July 2023 coup that ousted the Western-backed President Mohamed Bazoum, Niger's military leadership has moved decisively to reclaim the nation's uranium, the lifeblood of France's nuclear energy sector. Orano's subsidiary, SEIZES, which once supplied 15% of Orano's uranium and fueled a quarter of Western Europe's nuclear reactors, is now on the verge of bankruptcy. Why? Because Niger has slammed shut the export routes, blocked essential equipment at the border, and seized control of SEIZES' operations, with plans to fully nationalize it by July 2025. This is no small feat. For decades, France has pillaged Niger's uranium at prices that mock the dignity of its people. Documents reveal the shameful truth. Under the previous regime, Niger received a paltry 5% royalty on uranium sales, with prices as low as 0.8 euros per kilogram. Meanwhile, France resold this same uranium on global markets for 200 euros per kilogram, reaping billions while Nigerians languished in darkness, with 7% of the population without electricity. The late Yevgeny Prigozhin, head of Wagner PMC, exposed this scandal, and General Chiani has acted on it with ruthless precision. Niger now demands 200 euros per kilogram for its uranium, a move that has catapulted the nation to the fourth fastest growing economy in the world in 2024, according to economic projections. The impact is staggering. France, which relied on Niger for 15% of its uranium imports in 2022, is scrambling to secure alternative supplies from Uzbekistan, Australia and Namibia. But the loss of Niger's uranium is a body blow to French energy security and a humiliating rebuke to its colonial legacy. Orano's pleas for